Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. I've really been looking forward to this one. We're going deep into the world of artist Bob Camblin today.
Yeah, Bob Camblin.
I think, well, at least for me, this is an artist that I hadn't really heard of before starting to prep for this deep dive, but he's got this really interesting way of seeing things.
That's right. He was a bit of an enigma, a lot of mystery around him.
Yeah. And that's kind of part of the appeal, right? It's like you you get these little glimpses into his thoughts through his quotes and his art, and it's almost like a puzzle you're trying to put together.
Right. And fortunately for us, we've got a bunch of different pieces to work with.
Absolutely. We've got excerpts from a book called, let me get this right, Bob Camblin Quotes and Other Mysteries. Kind of perfect
Right.
title, right?
Yeah.
And then we also have some analysis from books like Zen and the Art of Enlightenment. There's 2 volumes of that. And then Bob Camblin, End Complete Works, Volume 1,
Hmm.
and The Art of Ends.
A
Everything.
diverse set of viewpoints.
Exactly. And for really focus in on one piece, we'll be looking at a YouTube commentary that really dissects his watercolor red stick.
It's a great example of how he combines those seemingly simple landscapes with these layers of symbolism.
And then to round it all out, we've got some biographical information about his life and career.
Right. To give you some context.
Yeah. So the goal here is to kind of synthesize all these different sources. What were Camblin's core beliefs about art and life? What are the big themes in his work? And ultimately, why does his art continue to resonate?
I think one of the things that makes him so fascinating is this tension in his work between these very grounded observations and this sort of yearning for something more, something beyond.
Yeah, and that really comes through in his quotes,
Absolutely.
like this one.
Mhm.
Fortunately, some things remain forever or another 10 years, perhaps. It's funny, but it also kind of makes you think about time and change, right?
Right. It's that impermanence. It's that, even the things that we think are going to last forever,
Yeah.
ultimately they don't.
Yeah. And it connects to this observation he makes in Salt Air Summer 1967. I don't know if you remember this one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's with this group of people at the beach, and he realizes that they've all aged. It's like this shared experience of time passing.
Hmm.
And you get the sense that he was really, really attuned to that.
Right. That fleeting nature of existence, I think it really informed his artistic approach.
Absolutely. And this idea of interconnectedness, that everything's kind of tied together in some way, comes up a lot. Like in this quote, look into the atom, you get what you need. Look into magic, you get what you need.
Philosophy and art are in both. It's like he's saying there's this underlying unity to everything.
And I think, for him, philosophy and art were both ways of tapping into that unity.
Yeah. And he doesn't shy away from these kind of mystical or spiritual ideas.
Yep. Like he talks about the perfectly average being this place where you can appreciate both science and magic.
Right. It's not about mediocrity, it's about balance.
Yeah. And he was very certain about the sixth sense being real,
Without a doubt.
without a doubt. And
Yeah.
it makes you wonder, like, what kind of experiences was he having that led him to that kind of conviction, you know?
It's a good question. I think that reliance on intuition is key to understanding a lot of his work, especially later on when we get into things like Zen and Eastern philosophies.
Yeah. But then there's also this almost melancholic side to him too.
Right.
Like in this quote, bright day and I soar, how cruel that my soul is attached to this earth, and yet it's like there's this part of him that wants to break free, but he's still tethered to the physical world.
I think that's a tension a lot of people feel. It's that yearning for something beyond, the limitations of our physical existence.
Yeah. And maybe for Camblin, art was a way to bridge that gap.
It's a good possibility. I mean, think about it. Art allows you to express things that you can't always put into words.
Absolutely. And he was very insistent on being honest with himself. I cannot tell a lie to myself for very long, he said.
Right. That authenticity, it's essential for an artist.
Yeah. And then he follows that with this powerful statement, find something in nature that completes you and then surrender. What do you make of that?
It's a beautiful sentiment, I think. It speaks to the importance of finding your connection to the natural world, that sense of belonging, and then letting go.
Yeah, that's surrender.
Right, letting go of control.
There's a lot of Zen in that, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And we'll see that connection to Zen even more explicitly as we go along.
Okay. There's another quote that kind of sums up a lot of his thinking. The light is all you need. The end is to evolve by doing the best you can. The means is to amplify what you're doing and believe. What stands out to you in that one?
Well, first, the light imagery, right? For a visual artist, light is everything.
Yeah.
But it's also a metaphor for, enlightenment, clarity,
Yeah.
and then that emphasis on evolution, continuous growth. It's not about being perfect. It's about striving to improve, to do your best, and then, crucially, to believe in what you're doing.
Right. That belief seems so central to his whole philosophy.
Absolutely.
And then there are these other concepts that he kind of touches on.
Mm.
Balance, patience, freedom, silence. It's like he's giving us these little nuggets of wisdom.
Right. He had this ability to distill complex ideas into these very concise statements.
Yeah. And then there's this rather unexpected view of love. Love, if given time, will evolve into indifference to protect itself. It's not exactly romantic, is it?
No, not exactly. I mean, I think it speaks to a kind of mature understanding of relationships. The idea that those intense feelings might eventually transform into something calmer, maybe as a way of self-preservation.
Yeah, it makes you think about the different ways love can manifest over time. Okay, here's another one. The sublime can be found in the ridiculous if one looks for what is forgotten. It's
Yeah.
like he's encouraging us to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, right?
Right. To pay attention to the things that we often overlook. And maybe there's beauty there, even if it's not immediately obvious.
Yeah. And then this very Zen-like statement, less only is.
Oh, yeah. Less only is. It's about stripping away everything that's unnecessary and just focusing on the essence.
Yeah, getting to the heart of things.
Right.
And it seems his view of art itself evolved over time.
Oh, in what way?
Well, he says, art for art's sake has become art for life's sake, or art for my sake, or art for survival's sake. It's like it started out as this pure pursuit of beauty, but then it became something more connected to his own life and experiences.
That's interesting. It makes me think about those early drawings and writings that he never intended to share publicly. Maybe for him that was art for art's sake. But then as he evolved as an artist, his work became a way of processing life, of expressing himself, of even surviving.
Right. There's a real sense of purpose there.
Hmm.
And he also had this advice: step off the train of thought. True power can be found there, and also laughter. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, it seems like he's saying that there's more to life than just, the rational mind, the constant stream of thoughts. That
Yeah.
maybe there's this deeper level of understanding that you can only access when you let go of that control.
Right. And that laughter, like maybe there's a joy in that surrender, in letting go of the need to figure everything out.
It's certainly a different way of thinking about power. It's not about dominance or control. It's about tapping into something bigger than yourself.
Yeah. And then there are these fragments that are a little harder to decipher, like this one. Balancing and being for and against, we missed the clouds, and for a moment regretted it. Then, as lightning, the mind ripped out in flashes of variations to reach the still pond. It's almost like a dream, isn't it?
It is. It's poetic, almost stream of consciousness.
Yeah. And the imagery, the lightning, the still pond, it's so vivid.
Mm-hmm. I think it speaks to a very fluid way of thinking, one that's not confined by linear logic.
Yeah. And then there's this bit of wisdom that seems contradictory. When you think, don't act. When you act, don't think. What's the takeaway there for you?
I think it's about being fully present in whatever you're doing.
Right.
If you're thinking, really think. If you're acting, trust your instincts.
Yeah. Don't let the two interfere with each other.
Right. Find that balance.
Okay. There's this little anecdote that he tells about talking about changing the world with someone, and then the person just pays for their coffee and leaves. It's kind of funny, but it also makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. It's a reminder that sometimes, actions speak louder than words.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe those grand ideas about changing the world, sometimes they're just talk.
Yeah. And then he goes on to describe these incredibly detailed sensory experiences. Like he says, the cosmos waves as me with tree leaves, sun-heated air moves across the electrons of my skin. Sunlight reflects those grains. First, white, then yellow-green, and in deep shadows, blue. It's like he's not just seeing the world, he's feeling it,
Right. He's immersed in it. That's what I get from those descriptions, this heightened sensory awareness. And I think it really comes through in his art, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of his art, his piece On the Tower is described as having this 3-act structure. There are these white mountains, a cold wind, lightning, and then he says, we leave before the show is over. What do you make of that?
It's interesting. It's like he's deliberately leaving things unfinished, Maybe he's suggesting that the journey is more important than the destination.
Yeah, or maybe it's about the impermanence of experience itself, like nothing lasts forever, not even a lightning storm.
That's a good point.
And the way he describes the impact of nature on his senses. The rain-soaked willows brought me to my senses, and he walked by so slow that my writing slowed, my heart, and also the wind. It's like nature has this almost mystical power over him.
It does. It's like it sets his rhythm, his pace.
Yeah. And then he mentions this one joy that exceeds all other, but he refuses to reveal what it is. What kind of effect does that have on you?
It's intriguing. It's like he's dangling this carrot in front of you, but you can't quite reach it.
Right. It makes you wonder, like, what could possibly be so joyful that he can't even describe it?
Mm-hmm. It speaks to a kind of mystery at the heart of his experience, maybe a spiritual dimension that's beyond words.
Yeah. And then these subtle observations of nature, like not a leaf moves, and yet we all feel the cool breeze. It's about sensing what's just beneath the surface, you know?
Right. It's that awareness of the unseen forces that shape our world.
Yeah. And then there's this great line, much better than arguing is to look at my watercolor palette.
It's like he's saying, why waste time arguing when you can be creating?
It definitely highlights his priorities. For him, the act of creation was where true value lay.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. White is light. Black is absence of light. But people are seen. What do you make of that one?
It's interesting. It's like he's saying that seeing people is more complex than just the physical act of seeing.
Right. It's about perception interpretation.
It's about, all the baggage we bring to our interactions with others.
Yeah. And then there's this almost childlike moment where he directly addresses Mother Nature.
Oh, yeah.
He asks her what she thinks of his last picture. It's so endearing.
It is. It shows a certain humility, I think.
Yeah. And then there's this rapid fire list of thoughts. 5 thoughts crashed. 1, my father 2. Light 3. A lost key 4. Dark places 5. Her eyes. It's like a glimpse into his subconscious. Yeah. It's a window into that nonlinear way of thinking that we were talking about earlier.
Right. And then he talks about different ways to end arguments with pessimists and optimists. And then he wonders if people diminish in our eyes as they move away from us. What does that make you think about?
It makes me think about the nature of perception, how distance can affect our relationships, our memories.
Yeah. And he observes that trying to stop an argument often just creates another argument.
Yeah.
So it's so human, isn't it?
It is. It speaks to that inherent difficulty of communication.
Yeah. And he makes this distinction between arguing or agreeing
Yeah.
and actually communicating.
Right. It's not just about exchanging words. It's about truly understanding each other.
Yeah. And then he uses this metaphor of an open gate and a broken fence with someone persistently searching without knowing what they're looking for. It's a powerful image.
It is. It speaks to that human need to search, to explore, even when the goal is unclear.
Right. And it ties into his thoughts on faith and the importance of trusting your instincts.
Mhm.
He also distinguishes between revolution and evolution as types of change. He sees revolution as misunderstanding and evolution as understanding. And he hopes for balance in our minds.
Right. It's about gradual change, internal understanding, as opposed to sudden upheaval.
Yeah. And then he includes this comment saying, you never miss the water until the wells run dry. It's something we've all heard before, but it's still true, isn't it?
It is. It's a reminder to appreciate what we have before it's gone.
Yeah. And then there are these little haiku-like observations like starlings black and busy on barren branches, they perch a winter sunset. It's so simple, but it creates this whole scene in your mind.
Right. It's evocative. It captures a moment in time.
Yeah. And then this one where he describes clouds circling our tower as if they're the intruders. It's a really interesting shift in perspective.
It is. It makes you question your own assumptions about who belongs where.
Yeah. And then this image of poor Thash trapped by the changing tides, it resonates with his earlier comment about the human condition.
Right. We're all subject to forces beyond our control in one way or another.
Yeah. And then this whimsical thought, when I die, I want to return as a fly so I can shine in the sun. So unexpected.
It is. It's playful, but also kind of poignant.
Yeah. And then more of these visual haikus, like darning needles sew, shimmerline tapestries, blue, green, and white bands, and then this cautionary one, bleached, textured, and white, to taste and sight, pray ever avoid the lamp fate.
But that second one is almost like a little fable.
Yeah. And then this one that feels deliberately unfinished. Canvas rectangle. Summer light calligraphy. Mystic and complete. It's like he's leaving it up to the viewer to decide.
Right. It invites your own interpretation.
Yeah. And then these more surreal fragments like Eater of Christians, Cairo, Byzantium Warm, Cold Children's Chair, and San Gimignano, Calamari to Oblivion, Strange Ways of Magic. They're almost like riddles.
Yeah. It's a different side of Camblin, I think. A little more abstract, a little more mysterious.
Yeah. And then these fleeting images, fragile grayed lady, and this one with sounds, choke, choke, water tongue, truck, truck, sound of foot to stone, this marble island. They're like sensory snapshots, you know?
Very immediate, very visceral.
Yeah. And then these visual metaphors, veil of August's heat weaves the artist's dragonfly, banyan trees are flat, and the recurring references to Icarus, fall, wax and feathers, flowers of burning petals, rah, rah, Icarus, and feathered pharmacos. Between surrogate and son, Icarus depends.
Right. Icarus, the myth of overreaching ambition. It's a powerful image.
Yeah. And then there are these questions he poses to nature, like, oh, sandpiper, why do you dance at ocean's edge? Come, water's fine. And summer great black waves, one sees so seldom clearly. Oh, men pulling nets. It's like he's in conversation with the world around him.
Yeah. He's not just observing, he's participating.
Right. And then these little notes on color and place. Green rocks, blue water, bright-colored Tiberians, poccato, capetti, and through purple leaves flash iridescent wings, shadows hide the sinking shell. They're like little travel postcards.
They are little glimpses into different worlds.
Yeah. And then this very personal note about his first trial.
Yeah.
And this observation about the strange mirror that can be deceiving.
The mirror as a symbol of self-perception and how it can distort reality.
Right. And then this juxtaposition, white magic, white lies, followed by thoughts of darkness and hidden fear. It's like there's this constant interplay between light and shadow in his mind.
There is. It's a duality that runs throughout his work.
Yeah. And then this cryptic statement, this egg in brown leaves has a great secret of mine, that nothing changes. It's a paradox, isn't it?
It is. The idea that nothing changes and yet everything is in constant flux.
Yeah. And then he describes these miniature worlds. Ragged wheels of silk, minuscule dragons observed by Buddha spiders, and this dragon never lived on paper or flowers. Well, perhaps next time. It's so imaginative.
It is. It's a reminder to pay attention to the small details, the hidden wonders of the world.
Yeah. And then these introspective questions. Jawless monster, cold marble sundial of the church to the old men's lape, and weeds of last year crowd shaking with lavender. Spring winds are just the first sign. It's about the passage of time, isn't it?
It is, and about the cycles of life and death and renewal.
Yeah, and then these sensory details and philosophical musings. Blue pictures pulsing. The faded image breathes once. The tattooed hand waits. And seed pod, dragonfly, shriveled weed, or living thing, stirred by wind or God. They're really beautiful, you know?
They are. They're both evocative and thought-provoking.
Yeah. And he finds beauty in the most unexpected places, like blue bottle banquet, from the sea in summer come tide-washed necklaces. And purple canals, golden palazzi, the rain muffles her crying.
He had a real knack for capturing those fleeting moments of beauty, the ones that we often miss in the rush of daily life.
Yeah. And then there's this sense of memory and loss. On Longboat, memory of summer walks, I hear this is gone. And then this stark statement, the painted eye sees more than mine, and God damn it, I see nothing yet.
It's that frustration, isn't it? The feeling that there's so much more to see, but we're just not quite there yet.
Yeah. Okay, this one is a bit abstract. This strange device, whirled by a figure of my mind, a beautiful dance. And then this playful observation. Gargoyles gargling water from Gothic churches. You missed me that time. It's like he's switching back and forth between these different modes of seeing, you know?
Right. He could be playful, he could be serious, he could be abstract, he could be very concrete. It's all part of Camblin's world.
Yeah. Okay, more fragmented memories. Off the shore, fragments of a memory are found, bones of Icarus. And this one. Hammock facing west, fingers knit to block the sun, become burning twigs. That one is so visceral.
It is. You can almost feel the heat, the intensity of the sun.
Yeah. And then he delves into the nature of memory. Nostalgia, like guests and fish, shouldn't be kept too long. The dredging of memory should only function if it serves to jog the archetype crevices of the reptilian brain. It's a pretty unique way of looking at nostalgia.
It is. He's not sentimental about it. For him, memory has a function. It's about connecting us to something deeper, something primal.
Yeah. Okay, this is a pretty bold statement. The artist today is the only free agent. What do you think he means by that?
I think it speaks to the autonomy of the artist. That in a world where so much is dictated by external forces, the artist has the freedom to create, to express themselves without constraints.
Yeah. And he even predicts a participatory type of art, which, thinking about all the interactive art we see today, it's pretty prescient.
It is. He was definitely ahead of his time in many ways.
And he defines religion, art, and self-belief all in terms of belief creating reality. It's like, for him, belief was this fundamental force that shapes our experience of the world.
Right. What we believe becomes our reality.
Yeah. And he touches on all these big concepts,
Right.
faith, discipline, communication, being. It's like he's trying to map out a whole philosophy of life.
He is. And it's all centered around that idea of belief.
Yeah. And then this rather provocative statement, art is and it isn't, and now everyone knows love art. What's your take on that one?
I think he's challenging that easy equation of love and art,
Right.
that maybe there's a deeper level of engagement required, something more than just a superficial understanding.
Yeah. He makes a distinction between truly experiencing love or art and just imitating it.
Right. It's about authenticity, about going beyond the surface.
Yeah. And then he introduces these concepts of resist and submit and the figure four.
Oh, yeah. What were those about again?
Well, resist and submit is about finding that balance between asserting yourself and yielding. And the figure four is this metaphor for life cycles, the way we make mistakes and learn from them.
Right. It's about seeing those mistakes not as failures, but as part of a process.
Yeah. And he advises us to avoid the demon of being right.
Oh, that's a good one. It's so easy to get caught up in that need to be right.
Yeah. And he reminds us to focus on the present action. Step off the train of thought.
Yeah.
It's about being present, being in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Letting go of that constant mental chatter.
Yeah. And then he has this interesting take on historians. He says they love artistic madness when it's safely in the past.
Right. It's easy to appreciate unconventionality in retrospect.
Yeah. And he suggests that we can train ourselves to open our perception. What does that say to you?
It's an empowering idea, I think, that we have the ability to consciously expand our ways of seeing the world.
Yeah. And he explores the difference between believing and knowing.
Right. Different levels of understanding.
Yeah. And he suggests that history is believable when it's creative. It's like he's saying that storytelling plays a role in how we understand the past.
Mm-hmm. It's not just about facts, it's about interpretation.
Right. And he views cynicism as destructive creativity.
Oh, that's a good one. It's about the power of negativity to stifle imagination.
Yeah. And he talks about losing the magic in fully understanding something versus just knowing it. What's the distinction there?
I think it's about the difference between intellectual understanding and a more intuitive, experiential knowing.
Right. Like sometimes a little bit of mystery is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's another beautiful metaphor. Pushing up. Slowly, as a tree growing effort of will. See the master heaping up of small things. No blame. It's about patience, perseverance, isn't it?
It is. It's about the steady accumulation of effort over time.
Yeah. And then he has this paradoxical framework for art. Draw, teach, search, reveal, always framed in paradox. It's like he's embracing the contradictions.
Right. He's not afraid of ambiguity.
Okay, he has this whole critique of the art world.
Ah.
He's not a fan of the obsession with history, critics, and affluent culture. He advocates for a more naive approach to art and says, identification is the aesthetic. Pass quickly onto the next slide, please. It's a pretty strong statement.
It is. He's saying that art should be accessible. It should speak to people directly.
Yeah. And he uses this great analogy. A critic is like a legless man who teaches running.
Oh, I like that one. It highlights that disconnect between theory and practice.
Yeah. And he criticizes forced intention and the focus on quantity over quality.
Right. It's about the process, the intention behind the work, not just the output.
Yeah. And he compares artists helping historians to adults helping children find Easter eggs.
It's a bit cynical, but I think there's some truth to it.
Yeah. And then this warning about facility being like the Midas touch.
Right. Too much skill can sometimes lead to emptiness.
Yeah. And he states that the visual arts have finally become non-visual.
It's a provocative statement. Maybe he's talking about conceptual art where the idea is more important than the visual representation.
Yeah. And he mentions Zazen, which
Wow.
is this form of meditation where you just let your mind be aimless.
Right. It's about emptying the mind, letting go of control.
Yeah. And he advises us to play the game of art without fear and doubt.
It's about that freedom of expression.
Yeah. He categorizes drawing in three ways: action experiment, slow analytic, and conceptual. And he emphasizes the nonverbal aspect of drawing.
Right. It's about communicating through lines, shapes, forms.
Yeah. And he discusses the simplicity of haiku and how it can evoke such a deep reaction.
Mm-hmm. It's about that power of distillation, of capturing a moment in a few words.
Yeah. And he has this paradoxical advice on looking, seeing, succeeding, failing.
Right. It's about the importance of process, of learning from mistakes.
Yeah. And he reminds us that writing started as nonverbal communication.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to forget that language is just one way of expressing ourselves.
Yeah. And he talks about the conditioning we receive to believe there's a right way to draw.
It's about breaking free from those constraints, finding your own voice.
Yeah. And he explores how engaging in art or music when you're not fully involved can actually be helpful because it allows your rational mind to observe.
Right. It's about creating space for intuition, for those unexpected insights to emerge.
Yeah. And he advises us to resist learning and to learn to fail.
It's about embracing the process, even the messy parts.
Yeah. And he has this great line, "I didn't learn anything new, but I know a lot more now." What's the paradox there?
It's about the difference between acquiring information and actually internalizing it, making it part of your understanding.
Right. It's about wisdom, not just knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And he adapts this Zen saying, "You are always Buddha, you just keep forgetting." It's about that inherent potential we all have, you know?
Right. It's about remembering who we truly are.
Yeah. And he has this view of mirrors, that everyone is a mirror, reflecting back to us parts of ourselves.
It's a beautiful idea. It speaks to that interconnectedness that he was always talking about.
Yeah. And he sees the jump as something natural that happens without conscious knowledge.
Right. It's that leap of faith, that intuition that guides us sometimes.
Yeah. And he distinguishes between negative magic, which is about power seeking, and positive magic, which is about seeing.
Right. It's about the intention behind our actions, whether we're seeking to control or to understand.
Yeah. And he talks about the deceptive nature of real seeing.
Right. What we see is not always the whole truth.
Yeah. And his advice, fool the eye, fool the mind. It's about challenging our perceptions, isn't it?
It is. It's about playing with reality, seeing things in new ways.
Yeah. And he discusses the dilemma of the artist, trying to balance consistency with the art world's demand for novelty.
Right.